Sabri Suby is making $3 million a month with a VSL that starts like
Look at this
this.
donkey. Now back at me. Now back to the donkey.
And in this video, I'm going to be breaking it down line by line, going into the psychological reasons, what makes it work so well, and why people like you and me are buying books like this. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be sharing with you a prompt builder that I've created where you can fill in the details about what you're selling, how much it is, what you want people to do, so you can create a VSL script that you can run as ads based on the training, based on the psychological reasons that make this work so well, so you can have VSL scripts that absolutely print for you as well. So let's get into it. Look at this donkey. Now back at me. Now back to the donkey. This donkey is your business. It's ugly, tired, and leaves your life with nothing but the scraps. Now this is something that I actually learned and I found really interesting in about 7 years ago when I was learning sports psychology in school. Basically what happens is you have a stimulus, then your brain has to look up, okay, have I seen this stimulus before? And it goes through essentially a filing cabinet. Have I seen this before? Oh yes, I've seen this before. I can pull it out. It's a file. So I can classify it and then I run the behavior script. But if it's something novel, if it's something new, it can't do that. So it forces you to pay attention to what's going on, because like as humans we need to survive, and if something's new it could be a threat, so therefore we have to pay attention to that thing. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's hijacking our brains. He's forcing us to pay attention to this because our brains don't have this schema to be able to find, so it can run that script. So by seeing an ad like this, instead of saying something like, if you're an agency owner looking to add an extra 10K a month to your business, this is something that so many people have seen before, so they know to scroll. They know to run that behavior script to just scroll on past. But if you're starting with a donkey and being told to look at it and saying like, instead your business could be like me, a small strange man, that is just completely different. And it's something that you have to pay attention to. Your brain forces you to pay attention to that. So that's why the hook works so well. It's different, it's new, it's novel, but it's also relevant to business owners. Your business could be like me. This is your business. So he's making it relevant still, and he's building up that pain, but he's also going in with humor, flexes his abs, volunteer, work with children on LinkedIn, etc., etc. So there's a huge amount here that he's doing to hijack our brains, but also make it relevant to us as business owners. He's going to run into a problem, agitate, tease solution kind of copywriting framework before he gets into the value. And that's what I want to dive into next. So the problem, growing a business is hard. It's really fucking hard. And this is just where you're able to empathize, sympathize, and get the viewer to be seen. And that's going to help them to lower their wall. They're going to have their guard up. They're seeing an ad. They're seeing something. They're shocked. So saying, okay, we're on the same side here, like business is hard, I understand you, it's going to help them to lower their guard instantly. Harder than this guy's balls. And there's a little pause in this VSL where he pans to the guy that's getting kicked in the balls. So that person's like, oh, I have to see this. Like, I can't scroll off here. It's just like an open loop. It's like sticking a ghost pepper up your ass and walking barefoot on a trail of Lego. So what he's doing here is when we say business is hard, right, it just goes into the rational processing part of our brain in our prefrontal cortex. This means that the emotional connection of this is shallow, and then the result is going to be things are forgotten. If he just said business is hard, it's really hard, and he just left it there, then that's not going to be something that's going to invoke an emotional response. And what we're doing with marketing and sales is we need to invoke these emotional responses, right? So by saying it's like shoving a ghost pepper up your ass, he's skipping past that rational processing part of the brain and he's going straight to the limbic system. This is then can also create a sensation. The sensation then feeds back to the limbic system, and this is all about creating deep emotional connection. And then that's going to be the thing that you can almost feel in your body, but then you also feel it as an emotion as well. Therefore, the result is remembered. So that's what he's doing with these, and you'll see so much visceral language that he's using, and he's not just using the regular kind of sayings that people would say, like business is hard, it's like trying to get blood out of a stone, for example. That's something that lots of people would say. I don't know if that's something my parents just told me. But yeah, it's not these regular sayings. He's saying really painful, specific things that people haven't heard before, because again, he's hijacking the brain to show you to pay attention to this. This is new. This is not something you've heard before. It's not like getting blood out of a stone. So that's why he's using this visceral language, and that's why it works so well. And then he says, especially when you approach it like most people do. And I've put a picture of Michael Jackson here. You might know why. But essentially what he's saying here is that make them feel that pain, but also feel okay about it. Feel okay about, like, this is your pain, but other people have this pain too. Because otherwise people will feel alienated, feel weird, they will feel uncomfortable. But then if you can show people that they're not alone in this, then it's actually okay. They're like, okay, I can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm not alone here. Most people and then are approaching business through trial and error, by hoping and praying, constantly worrying about where your next client will come from. Then we get into agitate. So we're just kind of twisting the knife here that we've stabbed in with the initial pain that we have. Stressed and sleeping like a teething toddler. Should I start a podcast? Post on LinkedIn 5 times per day? Run some ads? Or document my whole flipping life on Instagram for 11 likes and 0 leads? And I've got some of the creative here as well, actually. The specificity here is what I want to talk about. Now, I've done over 100 consultation calls now at this point with people, helping them in their funnel with their VSL. And the thing that I'm saying pretty much every single time is the importance of specificity. When you can speak to someone, you can enter the conversation that they're already having in their brain, and you can essentially talk to them about their problem in the exact moment that they're experiencing this. Then you create that recognition, and you have that moment where people are like, okay, this person really sees me. So if you're saying these things like, should I start a podcast, post on LinkedIn, like, these are genuine questions that people are having. And this, you can see how this performs way better than if you were to say, you're stressed and sleeping like a teething toddler, if you left it there, because of the amount of ways that you could look into to grow your business. That is so weak in comparison to actually calling out the things specifically and talking about exactly what they are. And then we get into that visceral language again. Somebody please cut my fingernails too short and dip them in lemon juice. Now you can really feel that if you think about that, if you hear that it sounds horrible, it sounds disgusting, and it's relating back to this is going straight for the limbic system rather than the rational processing. But what I want to highlight here as well is that he's actually saying, somebody please cut my fingernails too short. So this is something that he's going to lean into a couple of times, and it's about the fact that he would never ever tolerate what you're tolerating as the viewer, and he's kind of subtly hinting at that because he's asking his fingernails to be cut too short. So multiple times throughout this, the viewer's going to be thinking, why do I tolerate this? Then we get into the next part. Most entrepreneurs have a bad case of shiny object syndrome, mixed with a scoop of ADD and a sprinkle of I can do everything. Now, what we're doing here is we're naming the villain. And if you're watching this, you're probably kind of quite in tune with marketing and sales, right? And you know that a big thing when it comes to marketing is when you can call out the problem and put the problem away from the person. So you're protecting their ego and you're being specific about what's causing it. So it's like, oh, that's the problem. That's the reason why. It's not you. It's that other thing. That's the reason why. So if you're about to understand this reference, then I salute you. But we're calling out the villain here. And this villain is called syndrome. So we've got the shiny object syndrome here. We're calling out the villain. It turns out that this villain from Incredibles is called syndrome, but we've got the other villains here as well, the scoop of ADD and the sprinkle of I can do everything. So it's saying, like, these are your problems, this is what you're experiencing, and this is the reason why. And it's not like you doing this, you're doing that wrong, you're like, it just ends up being an ego attack, and no one wants to experience that, right? So that is the next part, and how we can just name the villain. So if you can think about this when you're writing your own copy, naming the villain, removing the ego attacks that you may be actually doing, and just putting it onto something else. And then they end up doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Soon they're tearing their hair out with all of the things they have to do. I call that shit show a rat's nest. It's also known as hell. It's hot and muggy there. And that's, again, linking to, I call that shit show a rat's nest, and also it's also known as hell. It's hot and muggy there. It's getting people asking this question, why am I tolerating this? Because Sabri Suby is calling it that. I should probably be a bit concerned about this too. I'd rather be zipped up in a sleeping bag and swung against a tree than operate a business that way. And he actually gets zipped up in a sleeping bag here, and they swing, probably not him, against a tree. And what I want to emphasize here, and what I'm going to get into when I'm creating this, when I show you the prompts creator that I've made, you don't need to be filming something on this level, right? Like, he's got the budget to be able to do this, he's got the time, and he's got the resources to be able to do this, because so much of his time is going to be spent on creating ads, creating content. You might still be kind of in your business a bit more. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to have a full production team doing something like that. So that's something that I've factored in when I've created this prompt creator, right? But this isn't about me. It's about you. And it's also subtly suggesting here that the struggle is a choice. So I wouldn't want to be this. I'd rather be swung up against a tree than operate a business like this. But it's not about me. It's about you. And that's kind of how he's like saying, okay, well, you're choosing to accept this, and this is a choice for you, right? So if you're sick of cold DMing strangers, running 50-piece Franken funnels, chatbots, or begging for business, and you want more money, more freedom, more ROAS, more business class flights to places that result in more sand between your toes, then I've got news for you. Again, we're talking about the specificity, not just in the pain like before, like the different things that we're saying, okay, are you trying this, are you trying that? But we're also specifying about the pleasure as well. So it goes both ways. Make sure you're using as much specificity as possible and putting people in actual moments of pain and also actual moments of pleasure as well. Now we tease the solution. Soon you'll be waking up to an inbox that's bursting with more eager to buy leads that consistently and predictably convert into more clients than any sane person could possibly handle. I like the use of soon here. It kind of hints at this idea of inevitability. It's actually going to happen. And then we put someone in an actual moment, waking up to an inbox that's bursting, and using language like this is going to cut through someone's brain so much better than saying that's full or busy or whatever it may be. Bursting, though, is going to really affect people on a deeper psychological level. So think about the language that you're using as well, without trying to make it overcomplicated, because overcomplicated copy just doesn't sell. But again, with specific moment is the bit that I really want to hammer home there. Then we get into the value. So we do have this bit where it's this other guy that just pops up and it says, oh, and you won't have to spend your weekend worrying about work anymore. And then he butts in, okay, I'm going to lose you right now unless I give you something of value. So showing credibility in the fact that he's recognizing that this is an ad, this is the exact point that people will scroll past, they'll click off. But he's showing that credibility already. So he's actually building that up. I understand you. I know you. I advertise, right? I know you're about to click off right now. So snapping people back is essentially a second hook. And then we're back again. We're engaged. We're watching this. Unless I give you something of value. The announcement is going to build curiosity because he's aware that he needs to give value, so he's probably going to give a lot of value. So here it is. Your prospects don't believe a single word you're saying. This is a jarring truth. So people are going to be jarred by this, they're going to be shocked. And this wouldn't land earlier on. Let's say if this was the hook, your prospects don't believe a single word you're saying, that's not going to land so well. Because it's like, oh, wow, like who are you to say that? But because we've brought the walls down, we've brought the kind of the guard down of these people through this humorous VSL, the way in which he's showing like, okay, we're on the same side together, all of these things, it means that now this jarring truth, this painful truth, can be something that he can actually say without having negative consequences. They've already been promised the same thing 100 times and been burnt to a crisp. And he's showing someone getting burnt here. Their news feed is littered with ads always saying the same shit. Burnt to a crisp, littered, these types of words, these are the kind of words that are cutting through and really just building up that visceral impact on the people, that instead of just saying these kind of soft bits of copy that could be just like bursting as well, right? Instead of using soft bits of copy that just aren't really helping people to imagine something or feel any sort of emotion. What you want to be doing is treating your prospects like a paying client before they give you a freaking razoo. Now, I don't know, I kind of said that in an Australian accent because I was imagining him say it. I don't know what a razoo is. It might be an Australian thing. That's right, sweet cheeks. You need to be leaving them better than you found them. Unless you enjoy wasting your money on shitty ads to get mediocre ROAS, that only keeps you poor. So we've got a rule of 3 here. And by saying, okay, like you can go this route or the other route, we're presenting a binary choice. And not all things are binary. This is kind of, kind of like a false dichotomy. Like you can go other ways of advertising for sure, than just going through like a value-based ad. But yeah, he's essentially presenting a binary choice, a false dichotomy here, saying that you can either treat your prospects like a paying client, or you're going to deal with this horrible consequence. And he's used it in a rule of 3 as well to make it land as better. You need to prove that you can help them by actually helping them, because screaming irresistible offers at them louder than the competition ain't going to cut it. This is so clear on the current attempt to solve the problem. And that's another thing. So I spoke about the fact that we need to name the villain earlier on. Another point of copywriting and a fundamental of sales is that if you are clear and you understand your prospects, so you understand exactly what they're doing to solve their current problem right now, then you're going to be able to articulate that in your ads and your marketing materials, and that is going to make it hit a whole lot harder. And that's exactly what he's done here, because people are just sending these irresistible offers out into the void. It's going to be like, if you are an e-commerce business owner looking to add an extra 20k a month to your e-commerce company, then I guarantee that we can do this, and etc. So screaming these irresistible offers is what a lot of people are doing, and he's recognized that, so he's called it out, and a lot of people are going to feel seen there, just like I'm doing right now. The realization of this point, the kind of meta realization that people are having, is going to lower skepticism, it's going to build that trust, it's going to position him as an expert and as an authority. I would also say that we've got the present tense here, which is actually very, very interesting, because he's kind of provided the value. This is what you need to be doing instead. If he was to say, just like I've done right now, then people are like, okay, I've got the value, I can scroll on past now. But the fact he's saying I'm doing it, it's the kind of is the continuous present, whatever it is. He's saying like, okay, there's still more to come. I'm still sharing value with you. I'm still doing this. And then what he's doing is like he's sharing like this ad and the mechanism described. They're the same thing. Like this is the whole meta impact that he's having on this. And yeah, of course, we needed to use the office meme from there. This positions you as the only viable solution, and actions in this case are speaking louder than words. So the fact he's been able to show people these two things, the ad and the mechanism described, are the same picture, his actions are actually speaking louder than words if he was to just all say this. So he's demonstrating it really, really well as he goes through this ad. And this is the kind of ad that I'm going to be creating for you. And I'm going to go through a demo at the end of this video with the prompt that I've created. It's this kind of ad. There are so many different types of ads, but it's this kind of value-based ad that I'm sharing with you. And it's all trained on this script. Without this, customers just won't give a fuck about your offer. They'll keep scrolling and be annoyed at seeing yet another crappy ad. This is playing on insecurity. A lot of people feel insecure about running these ads. They're like, oh, is it the right thing? Like, I don't want to feel salesy, whatever it may be. We're really playing on that insecurity here because no one wants to be running crappy ads and also annoying people. People don't want to be doing these two things, right? So it's playing on that insecurity. And if you can do that, then it's going to help people lean into you a whole lot more. You need to make people question what they're doing right now to solve the problem. So he's saying this, but it's still having this meta impact, right? Like, yes, you need to be doing this, but people are now thinking like, well, Sabri's spoken to me, he's given me this value, he's showing me exactly how to advertise, how I should be advertising. So now it naturally makes people ask this question, what am I doing to solve the problem? Because of the whole kind of meta impact of this ad that he's running, he's also asking people to ask this question of themselves without having the ego threat of saying, what are you doing to solve this problem? He's not doing that. He's making people ask the questions of themselves without asking them directly, which is just so clever. Now we get into the mechanism. We do it using something called the magic lantern technique. So naming it is going to develop that curiosity, which is just one of the 8, which creates the idea like, oh, there's more. Secret strategies outlined in my 7.8 billion unicorn funnel. So he's building up that credibility there. It's a secret blend of 11 client getting herbs and spices that convert like crazy. So we got the true secret of the Colonel Sanders famous secret blend of 11. So he's referencing that, which I think is pretty clever, and it builds up that curiosity, like there is a true secret with like the 11 herbs and spices. And then he's also removing the seriousness here because it removes skepticism. It's almost saying like, oh, I don't care about being so serious with this because I know how good this stuff is. And then we just get the yes chef by all of the all of the people at the desks with the chef's hats on, which is pretty cool. It's like giving your bank account a hug. Now this is really interesting because up until this point, it's been quite like spiky copy. It's been quite like visceral, as I've been saying. It's been the kind of copy that really cuts through to you. But then we get this contrast here of the softness. It's like giving your bank account a hug. So it's not like, oh, there's so much you need to do. It's like grinding, and then your bank account is building up step by step, day by day. But you're giving your bank account a hug. It feels soft. It feels nice. It feels like the potential sacrifice that you might need to do is not really anything crazy. It's just something that's just pleasant. It's a hug. And that is really interesting as a contrast that he actually puts in here. But I can't just promise you getting magic because you wouldn't believe me, right? So stealing the objection validates how the prospect is feeling and it gets control. So he's saying essentially what people's objections are before they even come up. And that's a great way to get the control. That's why I want to prove it to you by sending you a free copy of my best-selling book. So the interesting one here is obviously prove it. It's a powerful word. Here's proof. Like that's naturally going to cut through at a certain extent. But the fact that he's actually framed this is, I want to send you this book to prove it to you, is very interesting because it's not like I want to send you this book because you might be interested later on, or it doesn't have any sort of that undertone to it. It's more just, I want to prove it to you because this is something really serious. This is really, really good. And I want to prove it to you by doing this, by sending you a free copy. Then we get into the benefits stack. It's got 6,000 5-star reviews, that's said by some other lady, and shows anybody how to write Google and Facebook ads that practically force people to click them and buy. So anybody, since hints that it's beginner friendly, and force people to click them and buy just means that, oh wow, they're going to be good, they're going to be effective. How to generate thousands of itchy to buy. We've got these different sayings, these different ways of saying things that aren't so familiar, so they're going to be cutting through a whole lot more. Leads per month for just a couple bucks a pop. Desirable result. Where to find the best clients and hyperactive buyers online. This is likely the last place you're advertising, so that's just building up the curiosity, of course. And how to make love, this is another guy that says this, and how to make love to your partner so good, and then he cuts them off. Okay, you get the picture, but seriously, it's like giving your business a bubble bath. So it doubles down on the soft language here, and all you got to do is gently caress the link below to get your free copy today. So again, we're getting back to that schema lookup again. It's not like, oh, just click the link below. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard someone say click the link below, but I've never heard someone say gently caress the link below. And again, that's the familiar, not novel, and novel split that we've got here when we're looking up for the schema. Familiar, click the link below. Classify it, I might not click the link. But if it's novel, I'm like, okay, I will go ahead and click it because, or at least I'm paying attention to the call to action here, right? Or instead, so now we're just getting back to the call to action, then the contrast of what you could be doing instead. You could keep enjoying your nervous diarrhea and crying in the shower from dealing with a never-ending shit show of rising ad costs, poor conversion rates, and an income that's a feast one month and a famine the next. So really building up that real pain, and gently caressing sounds so soft, it sounds so gentle, obviously, and the alternative sounds horrible. So obviously the big contrast between the two here of the sacrifice versus this sacrifice makes it kind of come across like a no-brainer. Now we get into, I don't care if you run an e-com or lead gen business. This is the idea that everyone thinks they're a special snowflake, they need something unique to them, they need something tailored to them, but really it's going to work for regardless of who you are. So But you can also call these people out. You can include them because everyone thinks that they're special. Everyone thinks that they're unique. They need something tailored exactly to them. So when you call out these people, kind of identity by identity, then you relax them. You handle that objection ahead of time. Unless you hate money and think that things couldn't be any better in your business, then just hit the damn link and pick up your free copy today. So a second call to action here, and it's just completely framed as a no-brainer. Then we get into the disclaimer. Sell like crazy, figuratively, not clinically. Side effects of purchasing this might include stupidly high ROAS, leads so cheap they feel illegal, awkwardly long hugs from your accountant, and scheduled nap time blocked out. No animals were harmed in the production of this ad except for this one chicken who had his feelings hurt. He'll be fine. And no, this book won't walk your dog. So it's just a humorous disclaimer where the small person is chasing him. And yeah, it's just kind of like it's a funny ad, right? So he's just using that at the end. You definitely don't need a disclaimer, and that's it. That's getting into the psychological reasons why this performs so well. And as promised, I'm going to be getting into the tool that I've built for you now. This sheet is going to be available for you in the second link in the description, and it is a prompt builder. So all you need to do is answer these 10 questions, and the more context you give it, you've probably used LLMs every single day for the last couple of years. You know that the importance of the prompt. So the more context you can give it, the better. And answer these 10 questions the best you can. And these settings this is just training the model, so you don't really need to change anything here. And then it's also going to give you the prompt output. So answer the questions, then go to the prompt output. Then you're going to grab that, you're going to copy it, and then you're going to paste it into your favorite LLM. So I'll just go to Claude here, and then I'll open up an incognito just to show that it's not affected by anything, any of the copy I've written in there before. And just to show you as that loads, I'm going to go down to number 10. So this is the unhinged scale. I'd say Sabri Suby's is 3 out of 3 on the unhinged scale. So if you want to dial it back a bit, give it a 1 or a 2 there. That's just what that means. And then the rest are pretty self-explanatory. So what I've done is I've put down the information of if I was to run a trading offer and presenting a webinar, and it's an AI output, right? You need to be sensible. You're not going to be able to just grab it and then just use the entire thing. You need to edit it, but it just gives you a good starting place to work with. You opened this chart this morning before work, probably around 6 a.m. Coffee going cold next to you, and you sat there watching the price move, thinking you knew what was coming next. And when you took the trade, and then you watched it immediately go the other way, that's not bad luck. That's your trading right now. Here's what's actually happening. You have no edge, not a real one. You've got a collection of YouTube setups that make sense. When you watch them fall apart, the second real money is involved. So that's like a pretty solid hook, right? So that's the script that it's going to create. You can obviously put it in for your own offer, and then it's also going to give you some delivery notes and then also alternative hooks to test as well, because that's going to be the biggest bang for your buck when you're running ads. So yeah, that's what we got for you. So click the link below. I did use Claude to help me build this out, just being completely honest, and I think it's a really powerful tool. So click that link if you want to work with me. If you want me to run some awesome funnels for you, then click the link to funnelhouse.co and we can chat soon. All the best.